This is Levi. Levi's just a normal kid. He's in high school. One day, Levi met Mark, and Mark was a Young Life leader. Mark said, "What's up?" and Levi said, "Hey," and that was pretty much it. 6 months went by, and Levi started to realize something. Mark was everywhere. Everywhere that Levi was, Mark was there too. Football games, his school, even just around town. He always saw Mark there. And Mark always wanted to say hey. Over that time, they actually became friends. What Mark is doing is called contact work. That's what we call it in Young Life, when leaders meet kids where they are, just so they can get to know them. One day, after school, Levi ran into Mark. And as they were talking, Mark started asking him some questions. He asked him if he liked to play silly games. Levi didn't think that sounded very fun. He also asked if he liked to sing songs with his friends. Levi didn't like the sound of that either. Then Mark asked if he liked senior girls. That caught Levi's interest, and that's how Levi found out about club. Since Mark had personally invited Levi to come to club, he figured he'd show up. When he got there, he realized that some of his friends were there too, and that made him happy. Then he realized that Mark wasn't lying, and there really were senior girls there, and that made Levi happy too. And then they sang songs, and it wasn't nearly as bad as Levi thought. And then they played crazy games, and Levi got covered in applesauce. And it was the most fun he'd ever had on a Monday. After that, Mark got up in front of everyone, and he read out of the Bible. But it wasn't boring. It was actually really entertaining. And it was in a way that was easy to understand. And that's also the first time that Levi heard about Young Life Camp. Levi's expectations for Young Life Camp were that he'd be living in a teepee and constantly having to build fires, and there'd be some guy strumming a guitar and playing Kumbaya all the time. But then he went to Young Life Camp, and it blew all of his expectations out of the water. Towards the end of camp, Levi sat down and thought about how much fun he had had. He loved the mountain bikes, and he really loved getting to hang out with his leader Mark. But most of all, he loved hearing about a God who loved him so much that he died for him. And that's when he realized that his life had changed forever. After having an incredible time at camp, Mark invited Levi and some of his friends to come and talk about Jesus in more depth. They read the Bible together, but they also talked about how they could share the gospel with their friends at school. This is what we call campaigners. There are also other parts of Young Life that Levi probably doesn't even know about. There are a group of adults working in the background to make sure that he can have a meaningful experience not only with a Young Life leader, but also with Jesus. These are called Young Life Committee. These committee members are incredible. They do things like praying for kids by name, or raise money, or just raise support from the community. It's because of these committee members that Young Life can continue growing and affecting more and more kids like Levi. But here's where it gets really cool. Because Levi has so many people supporting him in his relationship with Jesus, he then is empowered to be a missionary in his own high school. Levi now gets to walk through life with one of his classmates, just like Mark had done for him. Young Life's goal is to introduce kids to Jesus, to grow them into missionaries in their own school, and then to send them to be leaders in the church.